on this episode of Edge of the Web.
Content is so fundamental to every marketing message that you put out. It's as my friend Rebecca Leib says, the atomic particle of all marketing. So I wouldn't think of content in just as the story you're telling in blogs or in social media videos or in an infographic. It's every touch point that you have with your customers.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
So welcome back to Edge of the Web. We always appreciate you joining us on the live stream on Facebook and Periscope. And hey, we enjoy certainly all of our listeners on our audio podcasts and all the different audio aggregators out there. We're broadcasting from Edge Media Studios located in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Every week we bring you the latest trends in digital marketing as well as marketing influencers from around the planet. You can check out all the shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com, where you can check out the podcast, all the videos, and all the news stories that we cover each and every week. The title sponsor of the show is Site Strategics, the agile digital marketing group here in Indianapolis, Indiana, that can deliver marketing success on a regular basis in the digital space. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, simply go over to sitestrategics.com, S-I-T-E, strategics.com, and hey, just contact us and we'll be happy to give you a free hour of consultation and kind of deep dive into things that we can see on your digital space and hey, maybe give you some action items that you can take away right then and there. You can also call us at 877-SEO for web or 877-736-4932, also on the screen right there. So it's going to be writing the entire show. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks. I'm CEO of Site Strategics. The reason that we do this show is we talk about each and every week, but we want to make sure that you understand that there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of misunderstandings in the digital marketing space, and we really try to unpack that, demystify things, break it down into digestible chunks, and talk about it with some of the great marketing influencers and guests that we have on a regular basis. On top of that, it's also a great tool for our own R&D, making sure that we keep our sword sharp and our powder dry, so to speak, here at Site Strategics. In the booth, in the director's booth today, we've got Tom Broadbeck. He's actually in the booth. He's the director of digital media.
Hello, Aaron. How's
Hello, Tom.
Good morrow.
Huh? Good morrow. What you doing over there?
Just running, clicking buttons and going to do some live tweeting during the show. So.
Oh, wow. Multi-talented individual there.
We'll see how it goes.
If anything comes to a screeching halt, I'm sure we're...
Okay.
It won't. It just won't, right?
No.
Absolutely. We've been doing this for a while. In fact, we've been doing this for a heck of a long time, over 7 years. This is what show is this?
280.
280. We're 20 away from 300. I can do math.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah, well, thank God. We certainly appreciate all of our audience, all of our followers, and our podcast audience. We wouldn't be doing this without you, and we certainly appreciate all the input and goodwill, and also recommendations of who we should be interviewing. And in fact, we were recommended to actually talk to one person in particular, and that is Joe Lazauskas. He is literally on the line right here. Joe, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. More than welcome. Joe, where are you? You're in New York.
I am in an hot, sweltering, oppressive, humid New York. Today it's like 105-degree heat index. I just went for a walk a second ago. I'm just going to keep my arms clenched close to my body like this in case there's any sweating going on there. I deodorized well this morning, but you never know. But I am leaving tomorrow for Hawaii. So this is really my last work thing I have to do before then. So
So literally, this is your last work thing. So you have full mind towards Hawaii, and you're stopping off at the edge right here.
Oh yeah, I'm about to.
He's already dreaming. Look at him.
About to jump off that cliff into that beautiful aqua blue Hawaiian waters, but right now I'm right on the edge.
Oh, yeah. Well said, sir. Well said. Well, while we have you here, I mean, we've certainly, surfboard dreams, I'm certain are drifting through your head right now. But we want to dive into the digital marketing news. So you ready to go that way? Let's go surf. Let's go surf the digital marketing news.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
I'm going to have some bad dad jokes here today. I don't know. From Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Roundtable, Google fixes the video carousels to show them less often. So if you're not familiar with the video carousels, it's literally a carousel of images across the top of top of Google as it applies to certain types of search. And several weeks ago, Google began showing more and more of these video carousels in the search results, so much that publishers were actually upset that it was leading to less traffic to their websites. Which makes sense.
I've been talking to Glenn Gabe a little bit about this on Twitter, and what they were doing. So the three snippets that you see right there, the video carousels.
Yep.
Those, if you were ranking first in organic listing, you would not. They would remove your first listing in organic and put your video there.
So. Oh my gosh! So it's taking away
it's taking away the organic, putting you in the video. So if your video is fourth in that carousel and you're ranked fourth in the organic search listing,
you're gone.
You're done.
Holy crap!
Not only that, Aaron, if your website didn't have a video and it had like a video background, like on your homepage,
right,
that was triggering it. So even if you didn't have a video on your homepage or whatever page you're on, you had a video background,
right,
that was triggering the whatever sets us off for Google and putting you in that video carousel. So they're putting you in the video carousel and removing you from organic. And
that may have been a background video that was more of a brand statement than actual information.
Correct.
Wow. So how many were on that video carousel? It's 3 that's displayed.
I think there's 3. I think it's 3 at a time, and I think it goes up to 9.
So it potentially could have organic placement effect to 9 people, 9 sites, if they had videos that were getting scooped out of organic. Yeah. Wow, what a bungle that was.
Yeah, so they've removed a lot of the carousels that are appearing, and there's the chart here from Rank Ranger showing how frequent those video carousels were appearing, and now how infrequently they are appearing. So
look at that drop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. I always found it a little bit, from a user's perspective, a little bit confusing, especially if you're clicking on this first one here, and I don't know if you can see it says SEM. Well, that says YouTube. So all 3 of those have the green YouTube link, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go straight to a website, and it's like a blog content with a video on it. It's like you click on the video, you want the video to play.
Right.
And then that's
so it doesn't play.
Sometimes, it depends. Sometimes these are all YouTube. It'll kick you straight to the YouTube page, and it'll play the YouTube video.
But even think about that, is that they used to have organic ranking to their site. They had a video because we all know video helps convert and keeps people on screen. Yeah. They scooped up the top rankings and then potentially even tossed them over to YouTube instead of the actual site where the video was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh! This is like it's a comedy of errors there.
Yeah, so that's what they're talking about here. They had the process to remove your video from the search results, so people are just like de-indexing that video in general, and like the robots.txt and yeah.
Oh, Joe, what do you think about this? All those storytelling videos out there, kind of sabotaging their own rankings.
Ultimately, right, what you want is that traffic going back to your own site. I know that as a marketer, as an editor, I would feel absolutely devastated if I'm losing the #1 spot, linking back to my site, and that traffic's going to YouTube. You also think about the number of tech startups today, the world that I'm in, that we're just obsessed with those like very lifestyle-y background videos you were talking about a second ago.
Yep.
It's like a couple looking wistfully at a waterfall or a slow motion cityscape, which isn't actually content that says anything about your business, right? So to have that appearing in place of actually a link to meaningful content on your site is just a total mess.
Oh my God. Who thought that was going to be a good idea?
It's a rare thing, right? To see Google making that type of mistake, which doesn't happen as often. They tend to test a little bit more. What you can give them credit for is fixing it. I think if this was Facebook, right, they just would have gaslighted us for another 2 years and just told us that everything we thought was wrong and that everything's totally fine.
Touche. All right. Well, yeah. So they're repairing it at least. Something that I think could possibly be repaired before it really makes its mark here. From a story from Search Engine Journal from Matt Southern, Google's new Cameos app lets celebrities answer questions from search results. Okay, Tom, I got to ask you to give our audience what in the world this is.
So, as I understand it, this new app called Cameos is designed to help celebrities and public figures control the narrative about their search results. So, there's the quote here from Google. Says, Cameos on Google lets you to be the authority on you. Record video answers to the most asked questions on Google and then post them straight to Google. Now, when people search for you, they will get answers directly from you. So, Kim Kardashian, Kanye West could be delivering the questions, could be delivering the results for any search query about them, I guess, in the future. I don't know if this is a play for Google Home type of answers.
Right.
I know they already have the John Legend voice that they're getting ready to activate, but I don't know if it's something similar. You can just have Kanye West talk to you in your living room.
Oh my gosh, I think we've stepped up a level of narcissism here. I can understand if you're wanting the celeb to be able to answer those questions, but my gosh.
But they can use it as a way to correct if there's lies going out about them that aren't true, and it'll be a way for them to kind of help control that narrative.
That's the altruistic goal there.
Yeah.
So from a storytelling standpoint, Joe, what do you think about the new Cameo app?
I mean, it's kind of like Quora on steroids, isn't it? Or Reddit Ask Me Anything, except I just can't see this being psychologically healthy. You know, like you shouldn't be Googling yourself anyway and paying attention to all of the crazy news that's going on about you. Like Kanye is going to spend so much time on this app. It's going to be crazy.
He's got that dragon energy.
Yeah, there's going to be like an entire half season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians dedicated to this, which I mean will be great for Google and maybe great for your show and SEO in general.
Well, I appreciate that, but I don't think we're going to be included in the Cameo app anytime soon. But here's the thing: is that it could actually start going into it like a development of an ecosystem of content begetting other questions that the celebrities will learn want to answer. So there may very well be a push of new narrative that they can then answer. And it could even tie into entertainment and everything like that. So all of a sudden now you have the ability for stars of different shows to actually jump up and answer questions about the show as well. Oh my gosh, it's going to be just this time sucker, man.
Well, I think we're seeing a progressive move in terms of content on the web into live video.
Yeah.
And as a way for celebrities, for thought leaders, for even people just working inside of normal startups and brands to connect and build one-on-one relationships with people. So if you want to think of the most positive outcome of this is that we'll see more of that. Live Instagram video is incredibly entertaining. What has made Snapchat incredibly entertaining is this feeling that you're getting this one-to-one connection with people. Google hasn't really made any huge move into live video in exactly this way in terms of integrated into the normal feed that you're used to using with Google. So this is kind of a cool experiment. I could see it catching on mostly because it's that moment of inspiration reaction to where, you're seeing that, man, like everyone's saying that, like I flipped out at the club, or I'm dating this person, or that I'm going to sell my company, or whatever it might be. And then Google's offering you a chance to get a top ranking, a lot of visibility around a lot of that negative content around you, and respond. I would find that personally appealing if there was a lot of weird stuff going on about me. So that could be very cool. You could also see a lot of pitfalls with this too, especially around scandals, around Me Too controversies, etc. So I'll be very, very interested to see where.
Well, that's the other thing is that celebrities, by and large, have a filter from press releases or they have counsel and what have you. And all of a sudden, if you're giving the iPhone straight to the celebrity, then they very well may not govern themselves as professionally as they potentially could be, and it's just going to cascade down from there.
Question is, what happens if President Trump figures out how to use it?
There it is. There it is.
That could be a whole nother level.
I think this was probably a conspiracy from Google to get this app in front of Trump. Just to see what he'll say.
It'll probably, if he starts using it, it'll probably take off one way or another.
That's very politically diplomatic right there. Yeah. All right. Something that we want to bring up to our audience that's very, very recent news. Over at Search Engine Journal, Shelley Fagan just posted an article here recently. Is Google My Business stealing your local leads? Now, check this out, guys, because this one is really important. Earlier in the year, Google launched a new Google My Business feature to allow businesses to add service menus to their profiles. Some of the businesses were actually seeing this option. Others were not. Several of her clients are actually in the home services arena now suddenly, and this is actually within the last 3 weeks. Google has started inserting links into her clients' Google My Business profiles to a third-party website called Single Platform. Now, that's not all. And in fact, here at Site Strategics, we wanted to actually contribute into this as well because we've just seen this with some of our own clients as well. So the link, you'll see that on the screen, there is a product and services listing there that you cannot control on your Google My Business dashboard or feature set. And it inserts a single platform link that actually goes over to a lead generation form. Now, that lead generation form is not controlled by you. It's not controlled by Google. It's on Single Platform that then ties into another service called Services or Service.com. Okay. Now, we just tested this here with one of our clients because we brought it up to their attention going, what's going on here? And that lead generation form and the test that we sent went into the netherworld. It never got back to our clients. It never got back to anybody. And who knows? It could actually be going to somebody else that's in that particular service.
Yeah. So here I pulled up their Google My Business page, and you click on the places link there. Oh, it looks like they removed it finally. So the form's been removed at least, but this is what it would look like. There would be a form field there on the left side, and it would just get sent to who knows where. Yeah,
so we actually contacted Single Platform and Services and said, what in the world's going on here? And this was a partnership with Google, and to Single Platform's credit, they were aware of this. And here's the problem, is that Service.com, they were sending a lot of their clients to Single Platform, and their clients who use a service were being linked with Single Platform to be able to do lead generation. And Single Platform thought that that's all they were getting. But Service.com actually sent them more than their own clients. They started sending them a lot of other businesses that are not clients of theirs. And Google was allowing Single Platform to insert that link into these GMB areas that nobody had a service relationship with. So what the heck? I think it was truly well, at least from Single Platform's perspective, truly a mistake. And they communicated to me that they were removing these links in the next 48 hours, which they just did. You can see from our own client. But you guys need to be aware of this and check out your clients' Google My Business pages. And I'm thinking they're doing a collective scrub of all of the non-client Service.com accounts, but at the same time, you need to be aware that that could actually be scooping up leads from the Google My Business page before traffic's even getting to the website. Wow, how about that, Joe?
Yeah, is there an estimate of how many businesses this affected?
I didn't ask that question to Single Platform, but I've seen it on a few businesses. Just started to poke around in the Indianapolis area. I have no idea, and they didn't convey to us how many we're really talking about here. But this is actually one of the first major attempts for Google to provide a lead generation service, and we've talked about it on the show before. The call tracking, the call forwarding, all of these different things. The Google Q&A, the real estate of Google My Business is getting more and more important for businesses to caretake and make sure they're in there. But Google's now stepping ahead and actually introducing a lead generation form. And unfortunately, they kind of got ahead of themselves, and they were putting it on a mess of GMBs that they should not have access to.
Yeah, I mean, call tracking, has always worked great. It's something, I've used for larger businesses. It's something as small as my mom's animal hospital, right? And it's a great way to track how your ads are performing. I do think that lead forms and lead generation modules like that are a smart area for Google to move into. They work super, super well on Facebook. It's something we've seen for our own campaigns here at Contently. We've seen it for client campaigns, for everyone from finance to healthcare to B2B. This works, right? It removes the friction for someone actually opting in and giving you your contact information.
Yeah.
The point is that you need to actually set it up so people are actually opting into using the service, for one. And secondly, have the amount of education they need to be properly implementing it and ensure that even if it isn't a mistake on your end, that they know how to integrate those leads that they're getting into their CRM, so they're properly following up with these people. These leads aren't just going into the ether. So I imagine, in addition to just fixing this bug, there's a need to do greater education around how something like this actually works, which is, a lot more complicated than your traditional AdWords fare.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the utilitarian concept of Google My Business. There's Google is making that space a very important space before even getting to your own website. They're getting in between, as much as they're trying to do a positive use of that. They're getting in between you and your customer with that Google My Business. That's why everybody needs to caretake that, because that's where you can convey a lot of good information. Obviously, that's where all the ratings are in this space. But the concept of what they just did here, we had a couple disparate parties that joined together here, and we've got some problems of the integration, and they didn't ask permission to actually get this on Google My Business. Well, I mean, all things considered, it's their property, isn't it? So just be careful. All the agencies out there, as well as the different individuals in your own marketing departments, go check out your Google My Business, and if that listing is still there, go contact Service Single Platform. They'll absolutely take care of you, and most likely they're doing this already for a lot of businesses that got the direction, and unfortunately incorrectly.
Yeah, like how much more time we got here? Because I have a few things I need to check right now.
Everybody, we'll take a coffee break. Go check your Google My Business and come right back. What we do ask permission for is to send you newsletters each and every week from Edge of the Web that you can easily sign up from your smartphone, not while you're driving. If you text to the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, you can sign up for the newsletter right there. You can also go over to edgeofthewebradio.com, and right there in the header you can submit your information. We won't use this for any other malicious placement on the web. We're just going to send you some great newsletters and some great information on a regular basis about who we're interviewing, who we just interviewed, and some of the same news stories that you can hear on the podcast regularly. So we're trying to drop a digital nugget of gold to your inbox each and every week. So go over there and sign up, and certainly give us some feedback of the stories and information that you'd like to see in our newsletter on a regular basis. So follow all the featured trending topics over at edgeofthewebradio.com. So hey, now let's deep dive with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for Edge of the Web featured interview with Joe Lazauskas, Head of Content Strategy at Contently.
So, Joe, have you ever been introduced by a deep voice guy before?
That was awesome. I feel like I'm on Sunday Night Football right now. I'm getting pumped up.
We are the ESPN of digital marketing shows.
Joe Lazauskas, Sarah Lawrence College.
Put all your stats on there.
Yeah, right.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Let's introduce Joe to our audience. Joe is the director of content strategy for Contently and the editor-in-chief of The Content Strategist, winner of the 2016 Digiday Award for Best Brand Publication. Joe's also a regular contributor to Fast Company, has written for Mashable, Digiday, and Forbes. His book, The Storytelling Edge, was released earlier this year. So we want to grab a hold of a copy of Storytelling Edge. There's a lot of good information that we already know about it. But before we get into that, Joe, why don't you tell our audience your backstory and how you got into digital marketing?
Sure. Yeah. So I started a news site / media company out of college. Is called or helped start it. It was called The Faster Times. And what we discovered very quickly is that it is very hard to make money from display ads. But we had, a really big audience. We had built up this network of a few hundred writers, sort of similarly to like a HuffPost contributor model. We had sort of an open platform within the 300 writers or so who wrote for us, where they would post and we'd quickly edit once stories went into WordPress. And we sort of a socialistic business model or socialist business model where we pay the writers 75% of the ad revenue that their stories generated.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it wasn't generating enough ad revenue, so we had to figure out better ways to pay our writers. And we ended up launching one of the first branded content studios back in 2010 to basically leverage the really good network that we had to create content for brands who, with the advent of social media, suddenly needed something to actually say online, right? They needed, in this new world where they were no longer going through the gatekeepers of, traditional broadcast TV, radio, newspapers, etc., and could speak directly to people. They wanted to launch interesting blogs. They wanted to make cool videos.
Right.
So we decided to capitalize on that by launching a branded content studio that helped create content strategies for brands and help them actually develop that content. And that sort of just led me into this space. I've always been a practicing journalist still, since then. And where I was doing that as sort of a small shop for a while, when we sold that company, I came on here at Contently. If you guys don't know Contently, Contently is a content marketing technology company.
Mm-hmm.
We have a network over 100,000 writers throughout the world to create content for brands. And then we have a technology platform. It's kind of like Salesforce, but for content.
Huh.
So managing all of your editorial calendar, your workflows, analytics. Big companies like Chase have over 100 users, all of their agencies in the platform. It's how they basically run their content machine and create content for all parts of the org. And so I came on when we were very young, just a few people, to start doing content strategy for clients. I built up our own content marketing program internally. It was one of the first couple people on the digital marketing side for us. And then a couple of years ago, switched off to devote most of my time fully client side, helping our clients figure out how to stand out and create content that will allow them to rank well in search, but more importantly, build really strong relationships with people, to build loyal audiences who actually want to hear what they have to say, who feel an affinity for the brand because they have made their lives better in some way, whether it's helping them figure out how to do their job better, to live a more healthy or fit life, introduce them to new technological concepts that have improved their day-to-day interactions with the world. That's what we really believe in. And it's a big reason I wrote the book that I wrote, is because in working with so many brands, me and my co-author, Shane Snow, our co-founder here at Contently, we just saw how they struggled. They struggled to grasp the fundamentals of what differentiates really good audience-centric storytelling from just a product page or a product release. They struggle to figure out how to do it well, because most people who are tasked with launching these content programs as content marketing as a concept popped off were not people like us who went to school for creative writing and journalism and storytelling. They were, more nuts and bolts marketing ops folks who suddenly woke up one day and their boss said, "Hey, you're doing content now." So we wanted to write a book that taught them how stories affect us on a neurological level, how they impact our brain. What are the timeless techniques? What's the timeless art of storytelling that maximizes the effect that your stories have on people? And then finally, the second half of the book is on how to implement that inside of your business and actually develop and grow a content program.
That's fantastic. And we are hearing this story more and more of niche companies that are focused on one thing and one thing in particular, and content, focusing narrowly on content and how best to deliver content for different brands, and having a discipline of storytelling that's singularly unique. Your industry is probably a very narrow industry of developing that type of useful insight into not only the company's brand and mission, but also how useful that content should be for that brand's audience. We talk to different social media practitioners and what have you, but we're starting to see more and more of the cobbled industry of delivering a particular product for marketing needs. Go ahead.
I would actually argue that it's not as niche as a lot of people think it is.
Okay.
And this is the argument that I would make. And it's something that Gartner argued this year, which is actually that they think content marketing technology and content marketing is going to go away as a category in the next couple of years, because content is so fundamental to every marketing message that you put out. It's, as my friend Rebecca Leap says, the atomic particle of all marketing. So I wouldn't think of content in just as the story you're telling in blogs or in social media videos or in an infographic you throw up on your site and repost a module of on LinkedIn. It's every touch point that you have with your customers. So it's not just that top of funnel content, but it's also the mid funnel content that you integrate into your drip campaigns and that you arm your salespeople with to move a lead along by answering their most pressing questions, both very much around your industry and best practices and educational content, as well as more product focused content. I think very product focused content, you need to figure out how to tell a compelling story there. Obviously, It's going to be a little more promotional than something that's very on your blog would be, but there's still a need to tell a compelling story there. A case study needs a narrative to bring it all the way through. Your company vision, your pitch deck needs a strong narrative to pull its way through. Even in the way that we think about our proposals here at Contently, how we present our solutions to our clients, we want to tell a story about them, where they are right now and where they're going. So my argument would be that this is something that will be a huge part of every marketing operation when we think about content and storytelling, not just a niche cottage industry. And I think that's a big reason that, for us, we've grown from, just a few people in a subletting from a subletter in the corner of an office that Google owned when we started, to a global company, with hundreds of employees all over the world, because there's such a need
There it is.
for better content today.
No, you're absolutely right. And I meant no offense. I was really looking at it from you're blazing the trail for that need, and we're starting to see different type of organizations capitalize and move into that space to be able to serve clients. So no.
No, I did not take any offense. It's just something that's been a big thing on our minds lately as a company, in terms of where we see the future of this industry, right? Because we're, one of the two leaders in all of the big Forrester Gartner reports. We have, hundreds of clients. So the question is, what's next? Where is content going? And this is where we see it going.
Sure.
When I'm working with our clients, is much more than just the blog.
Very good. Very good. Well, if you'll indulge us, we want to be able to give a shout out to our title sponsor. Site Strategics is very proud to be able to be the title sponsor for Edge of the Web. And we wanted to continually share with our listeners a special of what we do here from an analysis standpoint. We provide digital marketing strategies all the time, and our clients are always looking for ROI. I think that's truly what you should be focused on, right? So Would you like to discover your own digital marketing ROI? Well, why not have a second opinion and be able to see how your own digital marketing is doing? We offer a 30% reduction on the digital marketing ROI report. You can actually learn your digital strengths, your weaknesses, and the threats that are against you. We cover SEO, content, social content marketing, social media, SEM, email marketing, and the like. So while that also gives us here at Site Strategics the ability to really get insight into areas of opportunity and growth for you. So we go through an SEO audit, social media review, paid review, conversion analysis, competitor analysis, and gap analysis. So if you want to find out what that's all about, go over to edgeofthewebradio.com/ROI. No commitments necessary. All you got to do is just give us your information, and let's have a conversation to see if this report is matching what your needs are. So with that, forgive the indulgence. We had to do that in around now. Now, Joe, let's dive into the book, Storytelling Edge. This was released earlier this year. What was the inspiration behind this book?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it was really our time and our experience talking with so many different marketers and so many different companies over the last 6 or 7 years that she and I have been working together and building up Contently, and just realizing some of the shortcomings that we saw consistently, which was this struggle with really understanding what goes into a good story. Often this feeling of hopelessness around it, like this is not what I went to school to do. This is not what I was trained to do. My company's boring. We're in finance. We're a B2B tech company. We're a SaaS company. How can I possibly tell an interesting story about that? I'm not Red Bull. I'm not dropping anyone out of a satellite from space. And yet, we see time and time again when you really dig in and work with clients is they have a story.
Right.
They have a unique opinion about where they see the future of their industry going when you tap into the really smart people that work inside that company. They have great stories about the people that work there and what they believe in. And when you look at who they're trying to serve and you ask that audience, both through search analysis tools, social analysis tools, and in one-on-one interviews, what their challenges are at work, there's great stories to tell around how to make their lives better, and how that'll help them. So then we thought about, all right, how do we write a book that both attaches what we're really interested in, that will actually help those people? And we decided to start at the beginning, really how stories work for us as human beings, how our ancestors sat around campfires, and before we had the written language, stories are how we pass on information about how to build stronger connections with each other and how to survive, what berries to eat, and what predators to look out for, and how we should interact with one another. It's shown that when we hear a story, the neurons in our brain light up fivefold. It's like someone has illuminated the city of our mind. And there's this saying that neuroscientists have, that neurons that fire together wire together. So essentially, this means, and this is the simplest neuroscience lesson ever, our brain runs on electric pulses, right? And so when you hear a story or you watch a video, a lot more of your brain lights up. And when that's happening, the information that you're intaking during that time, it's stored at a much higher rate than it would be otherwise, because you have all these neurons lighting up in your brain, and thus they're wiring together, and you're getting those memories binded. So that's why storytelling is a much more effective way to communicate your company's values, your value proposition. It's how you educate people and have them actually remember the lessons you're telling them when you do it with a good story. The second element that we found really interesting in terms of the neuroscience around storytelling that's come out over the last 5 years or so is around how oxytocin works in our brain.
Oh, there we go.
So oxytocin is this neurochemical that for a while we did not know a lot about. We knew that it was secreted when mothers would be with their newborn children, right? But we didn't know a lot past that. But there's this neuroscientist named Dr. Paul Zak, who about 12 years ago, he was on an airplane coming back from a work trip. And he was on the plane and he was trying to get some work done because he hadn't seen his family in a week. He didn't want to be distracted once he got home. but suddenly there was really bad turbulence on the plane. Such bad turbulence he couldn't type anymore. So he did what any of us would do. He shut off his laptop and he turned on a movie. And this was back in like 2007. So $1 Million Baby had just won Best Picture. So he turned on $1 Million Baby and he got super immersed in the movie. And before he knew it, the movie was over and his seatmate was just tapping him on the shoulder, being like, "Are you all right? Are you right? Are you all right?" And he's thinking this guy's nuts, right? And then he notices that he's been sobbing. He's been sobbing uncontrollably because this touching father-daughter tale struck his heart, so profoundly. So the next day, he was still wondering about that. He went to his lab and he talked to one of the psychologists on his team. And he told her the story, and she wasn't surprised because she's like, yeah, psychologists use video all the time to change people's moods. So this sent him down a path that spanned the last decade into how oxytocin is secreted and how stories actually trigger the secretion of oxytocin in our brain. And what he's found is that stories are actually one of the biggest triggers of secreting this neurochemical that's essentially an empathy drug for us.
Right.
That's a connection drug. So ultimately, what are stories doing? They're doing two things. One, they're firing up our brain. They're making us remember so much more information than we would otherwise. And they're also making us feel a connection to either the protagonist or the person who's telling us this story.
Yep.
When you combine those two concepts as a brand, what are you getting? You're getting two of the things that you want most from consumers. You want them to feel connected and loyal to you, and you want them to remember whatever the hell you're telling them, right?
Yep.
And so stories are the way to get both of these things. So this, to me, is really, really fascinating. I think based on the success of the book, it's been interesting to a lot of people. And it's one of the keys to understanding why really good stories matter and why it's not just about putting up a blog post that's a bunch of product plugs, but actually investing in really good creativity to tell better stories that will build relationships with people. And this is an area that we found actually is really effective in getting folks to buy in internally and understand why it's important to not just talk about your brand all the time. And then the second impetus for us is, okay, let's tell them how it works. Let's tell them how to do it. So we go through a lot of the basic, like nuts and bolts, great storytelling techniques that lead to having this effect. And then finally, okay, once you have the skills to do this, how do you evangelize this within your business and actually implement it?
There's a lot to unpack there. The oxytocin point is very well received from an understanding of that connection, that social connection hormone that's in the body. And Simon Sinek goes straight into these different hormones in the Start With Why book, and you're absolutely codifying that with going straight for the why from a storytelling standpoint and being able to roll that out to be able to wrap around products, be able to wrap around missions and values of businesses, right? This is where all marketing should be. It should be in the space of real, authentic storytelling that is not fabricated. It's a space of why this company exists, why they're on this mission, what wakes them, what keeps them going, why do they go to work each and every day to be able to deliver these services to their customers. That's what is a personal connection for each and every potential customer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you have that strong company mission, it makes it so much easier to figuring out what sort of stories you should be telling. So I'll use, the case for us personally. We have this mural on our wall that says, "Those who tell the stories rule the world." Contently was built from the start with this belief that we could help create a better media world if we, one, gave brands and empowered brands with the means to not just create bad keyword stuffing content farm, generic content, but actually create really meaningful content that people would enjoy. And then in turn, invest in more of their advertising budget and pushing people to that meaningful content rather than just intrusive pop-up display ads that might get you impressions, but won't actually move the needle
Right.
In terms of building more deeper and more loyal relationships with people. And so that's a reasonably simple mission. I wouldn't pretend like we're curing cancer or anything, but for a media nerd like me, that's something that was really appealing and made me want to give up, being a full-time journalist to go work on something like that. Right.
Mhm.
I'm getting writers and other creatives, filmmakers, videographers paid tens of millions of dollars every year. And I'm also greatly improving, the overall marketing media ecosystem in a small way. And that's something that's important and I think resonates with everyone who works here. That drove a lot of our early content strategy in terms of we had tension, we had conflict in terms of an enemy that we were pinpointing. And we were setting ourselves up in some way as a protagonist and hero against it, as well as all of the other amazing marketers and ex-journalists and really cool content people at other companies that we would highlight and tell the story of, to tell their tale of how they were overcoming the different challenges and getting a very meaningful program like this implemented.
Excellent.
And that content did super well. We built up an audience of hundreds of thousands of people who read our newsletter every week and, came to our site every month. And it's what helped build the business. And we believe that, as we've seen with our clients, this can work for anyone.
Absolutely. Storytelling, that there's a creative bent to it, obviously. I mean, it's the fabric of delivering the message. That's not easy for a lot of marketers. And you have to have that skill set of it's a mature understanding of the business that you're representing. But on top of it, you have to have the skills to be able to develop something that will engage the audience and not push them away, not sound disingenuous or any level of fabrication or what have you on behalf of the client. So you have to have authentic staff that truly can divine from what sounds like marketing, really getting to the meat of the matter, but still be able to engage creatively, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say honestly, the biggest key to content marketing is not being full of crap.
There it is.
Like, just talk like a human. Actually say what you think and what you believe. You'll be surprised at how well that works. And the second element is just being humble enough sometimes to saying, I can't do this all myself. And you know what? It would be great to bring in someone who trained to do this all their life, their entire life, right? To bring in someone with those creative skills to tell those stories for you, like to make that investment in creative people. Our platform is built off the idea that instead of doing this only in a full-time hiring way, you can do it in more of like the Hollywood model, right? So we think about like a Hollywood set. You have suddenly 150 people come together all at once, but through this cohesion, the set designers are, doing really cool things in one corner. You have the costume and makeup people doing their thing over there. You have the cinematography people shooting in another place, and it all comes together. And you spend a lot over a short period of time to make this really cool thing, but then you can easily scale down. You don't have to keep 150 people on staff constantly. So if you have people who are highly trained, really good at what they do, they can come in and do that. Or on the other side, you hire really good people full-time who understand your brand and can make a lot of different types of content. Very often with our clients, they have a hybrid of the two, right? They have people who are great internally, but then they also use freelancers and other creatives to scale up for big campaigns or big projects. But regardless, you have to invest in bringing those people in because like we are out there and we are usually like poor, like you don't make a lot of money doing creative work. Like we all really want jobs. I mean, that was a big impetus for me too. Like, I graduated into the start of the Great Recession. It sucks. I went to art school. I went to school with some amazing storytellers who could not get work. And we are still out there, and our careers have been naturally depressed by the fact that we graduated into a job market that was like the seventh circle of hell for creators. So those people are out there, they're not that expensive, and they want to do really good work for you. Just let them.
No, there it is. The hungry digital artist is best going to deliver the most poignant creative content just to keep the money coming in.
Yeah, we know tension. We know struggle. I lived in an apartment in Chinatown where my bathroom was just a toilet and a pantry. and my shower was like an as I lay dying coffin in the corner, and my bedroom was held together with packing tape. Like, we
And for some odd reason, I believe every piece of that. Hey, for content.
Oh, you can ask my ex-girlfriends. They were not happy about it.
Well, what can content marketers and businesses do to improve their storytelling skills? Because you're talking about a true art form, and that's going to sometimes fall deaf on the non-creative types. On top of maybe that even business owners that don't know how to tell their own story. We come across them time and time again that they know their product, but they don't know how to talk to their consumers. So what skills do they need to improve on?
In terms of actual storytelling skills, understanding some basic concepts can be really, really helpful, like such as the 4 elements of a great story: sort of relatability, novelty, fluency, and tension. So you have a really quick lesson. Relatability is basically being able to see yourself in the character that the story is about. So saying, "Oh, I understand this person," or "I know this person." It's why like something like Star Wars, which is a movie set in a universe far, far away that's very, very foreign. We're immediately able to gravitate into it because Luke is a very relatable character. He's a very, down to earth, like sort of Midwestern farm boy type.
Joe, he kind of whines a lot too. So
he's a little bit whiny. Yeah, a little bit whiny. But we all have whiny people in our lives, right?
Absolutely.
To be honest, we're all a little bit whiny sometimes too. And so our brains actually are programmed to respond to stories more where we can see ourselves as the protagonist. That's why, like, if you go to a movie that's like some Jack Nicklaus, Morgan Freeman, Last Chance to Live Our Lives Fair, you'll see a lot of 55 and older crowd in there. Like my mom loves those movies. Or when you're a teenager, you probably really loved teen movies, like whether it's Molly Ringwald Fair, or for me, it was like the American Pie movies, right? We naturally gravitate towards movies where we see ourselves in the characters. However, our brain also lights up when we see something new. So this is an evolutionary response in that when we see something new that's a potential threat, our brain lights up because it wants to be aware of what's going on and how to assess the potential danger. So when we see something new in a story or on screen, as long as it's relatable, our brain is very, very engaged. The next key, I'm going through these really fast,
no, you're fine.
Fluency, which is basically how easy is it for someone to get immersed in your story. So for over 50% of Americans read at an 8th grade level or lower. So when you're writing, a lot of marketers conflate being obtuse and dry and academic with authority. But in fact, the hardest thing is to write about really complex topics at a 4th or 5th grade level in a very simple way. This is something that really good writers spend a lot of time figuring out how to do. And as well as in any videos, like you don't want to force, in the same way that you don't want to force your audience to read a really dry 3,000 word, terribly designed, non-visual white paper that's a chore to get through. In video, you don't want just a 30-minute video of some 6-year-old white dude who's a talking head just droning on at you. You want something that immerses you immediately with fast action, with text overlay within the first 3 seconds. That's very visually engaging, that allows you to immerse yourself in it as quickly as possible. And the fourth is tension. What Aristotle said is that the key to a great story is establishing the gap between what is and what could be, and closing that gap before opening a new one over and over again. So you think about, in a romantic comedy, what keeps us at the edge of our seats is the sense of, oh, is he going to get the girl? Yes, he's getting her, but no, the ex-boyfriend just came in. So we have to wait to see, will he overcome this? And, oh, he messed up and didn't show up to her work party. It's this opening and closing of the gap between what we want the character to achieve until the end of the movie when they achieve it, and then there's bliss.
Right.
The same thing in something like Ocean's 11. Like, are they going to pull off the heist? Yes, but no, something got in the way, and now they have to come up with a new plan. This is what moves us along, and on a neurological level, keeps our brain involved and our brain absorbed in the story. So when this is actually a pretty good checklist to have whenever you're creating a story, to think of, one, am I capable of actually telling a story that has these elements? If no, let me bring in someone who really knows this innately. But when you're checking the stories that you're putting out, am I just doing lip service for content by putting something up on Facebook or
There it
something
is.
up on my blog? Or is this actually meaningful content? Because bad content can be detrimental to your brand. It comes across as poor quality. It comes across as a bad representation of who you are and what you believe and what the experience with your brand is like. So that's why I believe very much in quality over quantity, and I believe in committing to really good storytelling and hiring people who can do that, because that's ultimately what it takes for your audience's brains to give a crap about you.
And that's a great structure to rely on regularly. In your book, you talk about the flywheel pattern. What is that? Unpack that for us.
Yeah. So this was born out of going to so many marketing conferences, and you go to a content strategy diagram, right? And there are like 56 different arrows and boxes and different colors pointing to each other. In my experience, most people cannot comprehend that. It's just oversaturated. It's obtuse. So Shay and I want to develop a much simpler process for thinking about how to build an audience and how to get better over time.
Right.
And we came up with the metaphor of the flywheel, like the flywheel, because you give it a little push, and it builds up momentum over time, and it gets stronger and stronger. It takes less energy to do even better and better work.
Right.
And it's the flywheel is 3 steps: creating content, connecting with people, and then optimizing off of how well the first 2 elements succeeded. And the idea is that if you go through this cycle over time, you get better and better. And as we detail in the book, it's a formula that, if we study it closely, publishers from Renaissance Italy until upstarts like BuzzFeed and Upworthy today have used to very quickly grow their audience in terms of creating a lot of different variations of content, testing how different audience groups respond to that content, or how your audience responds to that content, measuring the results and tracking what worked from those 2, what type of content people like the most, where they were most likely to respond to it, and then taking those learnings and optimizing what you do in the next round very, very quickly. This is, though Upworthy gets really made fun of a lot here in New York, they actually think they're one of the most influential digital media companies we've had, because they very much revolutionized this idea by taking really awesome videos they found on the web that no one had seen. Because had terrible SEO usually, like really bad title and no meta descriptions, and they were just buried on YouTube.
Yep.
Packaging them in a really nice way on Facebook through small buys and Facebook ads, testing like 50 different variants of headline and images, learning what worked best, and then putting a bigger investment in distributing those winning packages, both in paid content distribution ads, as well as on their organic Facebook audiences and their email list. And instead of, like a lot of newsrooms at that time, like sitting down and looking at what worked every week or every month, they were looking at this constantly, and they were tracking it constantly.
Right.
And so they were able to get much, much better and learn much, much more about how each of their different audience segments would respond to content a lot quicker than everyone else. So what we see after that is an explosion of basically every media company here in New York hiring an audience growth or an audience development team to do exactly that. And that coincided a lot. If you look at, the pathway, Upworthy saw a huge spike in their readership. And then you saw folks like HuffPost, Business Insider, The Times, WAPO start to see a similar spike, because they got a lot smarter about how to test their content and reach people.
Wow, that also is demonstrating a kind of a mature look at things, because so many content creators inside of an organization will try a video and then look at its data and then decide to go into a completely other direction with another piece of creation, and not try to improve it and guide it differently and get feedback. And you're experimenting with digital focus groups each and every time. You're changing the delivery mechanism that can actually help not only that creative, but also all future creatives as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about content marketing is you need to market the content. Right? Like you can't just throw it out there and be like, "We did it, guys!" Like, good job. Like, no, like you wouldn't just make, you wouldn't just put up a page about your product on your website and then do nothing to let anyone know about it. You have to test different variations of that content the same way you would test different variations of your brand messaging or your product positioning.
Otherwise, you're doing very similar to direct mail.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's just, spray and pray. Like, hope this works. And if it doesn't, oh well, not my fault. Like,
Yeah.
no, it is your fault if it's not working. And if it doesn't work, that's okay, as long as you learn from it and do better the next time. And that's
Very
what we
good.
really preach with our clients. And we have like just constant touch points around this. Like, what are your key KPIs? From the time we put a proposal on a brand's desk, like we're talking about goals and KPIs for success.
Yep.
And then we're very dedicated to tracking, that set of like 5 to 10 KPIs we're really going to focus on. Is the content delivering towards that? If yes, how can we do it better? If not, what do we need to fix? What do we need to double down on?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a simple idea that honestly pays such huge dividends.
Very cool. Well, I mean that could be a whole nother 3-hour show right there. But that is a discipline that has to be embraced by every marketer. Is that you don't shoot once and have a look at how you aimed and then walk away from it. You've got to improve based on metrics, based on measurements, and have this scientific method of improving what you've developed. That's not a discipline that's widely embraced. Very similar to very good storytelling. It needs to be. Marketers need to be in that space and be mindful of how to engage their audience, but also how to improve that marketing again and again, right?
Yeah, and I do think a little part of it is that some marketers are scared to look at the metrics. I think they're scared to look too deeply.
Yeah.
Because you are worried. In a lot of big organizations, like it is a risk to do anything new and innovative, right?
Yeah.
And you worry about upsetting people by showing that, oh, the social teams, this isn't performing on social, so the social teams be mad at me that I'm saying they're not performing, or we're not ranking well in search the way we want to because we have 20 million different errors going on, but the SEO team is going to be mad at me if I point that out. So it takes a little bit of guts to be that person who says, no, guys, like, let's come together. Let's figure out what's working, why it's not working. Let's really work to improve it. It's a lot of coalition building. It is a lot of work, but if you want to, really feel like the work that you're coming in to do every day is meaningful, it's very important. And if you look at the people who really rise through the ranks, the people who are making a career for themselves in digital marketing, it's the people who have the guts to go out and do this and to stir the pot a little bit and figure out how to fix what's wrong with their company's business. And so, know that, like, I say all this, and I know if you're a marketer out there, you might be thinking it is scary, and it is a little bit. But if you're able to show results and show other teams that you are a resource that they can come to do better, that's only going to lead to good things for your career.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Well, we really appreciate your time today. There's so much more to unpack in the book. We always want to implore our audience to go out and pick up the book of the guests that are on our show. But Storytelling Edge really does permeate all of digital marketing, and you've got to start embracing that discipline of good creative content and engaging content in whatever medium that you're delivering. It's social, SEM, SEO, content marketing, all have a manner of storytelling and engagement to them. So we really appreciate kind of unpacking some of it with you, and I'm glad that we still have you here while the dreams of Hawaii are dancing around your head. I got one question, or two more questions for you that we'd like to wrap up all of our interviews with. What bugs you in the industry that you're in right now?
Silos. more than anything. So a lot of content programs get stifled by silos where content has been put into this one content creation team, but then you have the email team that controls getting any content to email lists, social team that controls that lever of distribution. And people are very protective of their territory, and it becomes hard to get everyone cohesively together for the good of the actual marketing team and the marketing program. We see a lot more companies coming together and building content centers of excellence to ensure that the best content creators inside the company are in charge of the governance of that content and getting it out there. But we still have a huge way to go, and consistently, client after client, especially in the Fortune 500, it's the biggest thing that we have to help people tackle. So I'm glad to see some movement there, but especially for the champions that we're working with inside these companies, and a lot of them are just true champions. It's a hugely frustrating thing.
Oh, yeah, I certainly understand that, and I can only imagine for the amount of content that you create, and you have to almost like pulling teeth sometime from some of the subject matter experts. But I mean, there's a discipline and maturity that has to be evolving regularly in marketing. Well, conversely, what excites you about your industry right now?
I think it is the incredible amount of insight we have into what our audience wants. So when we look at the amount of easily accessible search analytics tools, from Moz to SEMrush to web analytics tools like SimilarWeb, social analytic tools like BuzzSumo, we're able to dice and slice that in so many interesting ways to understand what our target audience is most interested in, from a format perspective, topic perspective, using software like NewsWhip to see emerging conversations and around different topics, what's getting hot right now. And as a creative, I like that because it gives you that box for your creativity to play in, right? This idea that if I ask you to write a poem right now, you might be stumped. But if I ask you to write a haiku about dinosaurs, I bet you can do it in 5 to 10 minutes. Is that those constraints and guidelines tend to unleash our creativity. So we have so many more insights about, we just have to throw stuff against the wall. We can make really good informed decisions about what to create, and then tell stories about what our audience wants. And so that really excites me, as well as all the cool tools to create like long form, parallax, snowfall style long form pieces, to make video really quickly, to connect with people live like we're doing right now. I think that's super cool. And, we underestimate how far we've come in our content creation tools and our ability to connect with people just over, the last 5 to 10 years. So I only see that accelerating and us having more opportunities for people who really want to seize the moment.
Very good. Very good. Well, again, appreciated all your time and your insight today. We certainly want to promote the book, The Storytelling Edge, and you co-authored that with Shane Snow. Where can they find it?
Yeah, you can find Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, select bookstores. Can't guarantee you that your bookstore will have it, but if they don't, please ask them to order it.
You need to publicly shame them.
Yeah, please do. And you can also go to thestorytellingedge.com to learn more about the book. We have a free storytelling course on there you can sign up for.
Oh, cool.
If you just want a taste of it and just want to get a good view into our thinking. So it's a 5-week storytelling course that you have there. There's also some bonus options if you order multiple books. Also be more than happy to do a little giveaway with your listeners if you want to do any sort of raffle.
Oh, cool.
We'd be happy to shoot out some books too.
You know what? I think we're going to have to do that. So we'll touch base with you, and we'll certainly tease our audience. We'll be running a raffle here for the Storytelling Edge, and maybe we can run a contest of the best to take your goal, the best storytelling exercise within 100 characters.
I like it. So tweet a story in 100
I was going to say the best dinosaur haiku.
The best dinosaur haiku.
Yeah, let's do dinosaur haiku. I'm into that.
All right. So we'll run a contest, and we'll run it for a week for the best dinosaur haiku. And it starts whenever the podcast launch.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I guess I'll put a form out.
Yeah.
Or they can just email us,
Absolutely.
edgeofthewebradio.com.
Well, maybe we just have them tweet. I mean, you can put a haiku in 244 characters, right?
Yeah. So use hashtag Edge Talk so we can find it, or email us at info@edgeofthewebradio.com, and we'll pick the best one.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Awesome.
Nothing like thinking on the fly here, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Ball.
So no worries, man. So we certainly want our audience to go check out you on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. That's Joe Lazauskas, Lazauskas. Any final words for our digital marketing audience?
Just stay hungry. There's so many new things out there that are popping up every day. I mean, this podcast is a great resource for staying on top of it. But just take risks. Don't be afraid of doing something that's going to get you in trouble. Because if you really think it's going to work, there's a good chance that it will, or you'll learn something that'll take you to a breakthrough next time. Just stay creative and stay hungry.
Well said, sir. Well, we certainly appreciate your time today, and thanks for listening to Edge of the Web. Special thank you to all the colleagues at Site Strategics for producing it, especially our guest, Joe Lazauskas. Make sure to check out all the must-see videos and much, much more over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. Tom, who do we have on deck next week?
Sorry, I had to pull the microphone away.
It's okay,
I
sorry.
think it's Elizabeth Martson. I'm pulling up the sheet here. I forget. So I'm just going to stall time until it fully loads. And it is indeed Elizabeth Martson from Commerce Hub.
From Commerce Hub. And I bet we're going to be talking about e-commerce.
We'll see.
All right. So check out all the stories at Edge of the Web Radio, all the links to our guest company, as well as blog posts and anything else that we've mentioned, especially the storytelling edge. We want to make sure that we guide our listeners over there. Be sure to check out all the must-see videos and much more over at edgeofthewebradio.com. We'll talk to you next week. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. Bye-bye.